Hello, today we're going to look at how to generate a schedule logic report in Primavera P6. The importance of schedule logic cannot be overemphasized. That's what underpins CPM schedule. So you need proper logic in your schedule to, to drive the dates and to arrive at your completion milestones. So if you take this schedule for example, it's one of the example schedules that come with Primavera P6, and I'm using version um, release 18.8. So if you take this schedule for example, let's say I issue a PDF of this schedule to the project team and to stakeholders. It'll be hard for them to determine the logic behind the schedule. Maybe for sequential activities, it's pretty straightforward, but for activities, say you take this activity, install HVAC duct. It seems out of place from the fabricate and deliver heat pump and controls. So what's driving this activity? Well, because I've got this relationship tab open here, you can see that install HVAC ducts is driven by set mechanical and electrical equipment. But most of your stakeholders won't have a P6 license for them to go to the relationship tab to see the logic behind it. So what are your options? You could go enable relationship lines. If you click relationship lines, yeah, it looks messy, and this is just a two-page schedule. Imagine if you have like a 10, 15-page schedule. It'd be hard to trace the logic following these lines. I'll take that off. Another option will be to add a column. So if I expand this, go to columns and go to list. So if I add predecessors, add the predecessor column. It still just gives you activity ID. Ideally, I want the name of the activity too, not just activity ID. And for activities with more than one predecessors, it becomes messy. You have to expand the column, make it very wide, and I don't want to do that. So forget about that. So, so relationship lines, not ideal. Predecessor columns, not ideal. Luckily, P6 comes with schedule reports by default. So if we go to reports. So if you click on the report icon on the left, and under report group open project, you come to report group schedule. So you've got two logic reports, LGO1 logic report by project and logic report critical part by project. So if we run this, right click, report, so select print preview just to see what it looks like. So this looks good. Got the activity ID, name, early and late dates, total float, and it's got the predecessors and successors. Unfortunately, they've also gone for activity IDs. So it's not that intuitive. So still know what I want. I want the predecessor name. So that I'll just know, okay, this is what's driving it. I don't have to do multiple search for that. So to solve this problem, we will need to set up a report for the schedule logic. And to do that, we'll use the report wizard. To set up the report wizard, click on the add report icon on the right here. That will bring up this prompt. Go next. We want activities. Next, and under this option, select additional subject areas. Our main subject area is activities. What we need relationships of activities. So we need to look for relationships, and that will be predecessors and successors. My main focus will be predecessors because that's what's driving activities. That's what I'm interested. That will show me the logic part. So I'm doing a forward pass. So pick predecessor, move to the selected subject area, go next. Now I need to configure both subject areas, activities and predecessor. With activities selected, to show you here that it's selected, click on columns. Now the columns I want from activities to be activity ID. I don't want activity status. I need activity name. I need my date. So I need the start date and a finish date. So for the activity, yep, that's fine. Then I go to group and sort. Yeah, I want to sort by group. I want to group by WBS. Now, if your schedule uses activity codes for grouping, you select the activity codes here. So I don't want to indent. No, I just want the high level WBS or the lowest level of the WBS. Click that to all. Now I don't have any empty WBS, but if you do, you want to check the hide if empty box. For show totals, I don't want to show any total. A none ID and code, I don't want ID. I just want the WBS name. Yeah, that looks fine. Now I need to sort I want to sort using yeah, I'll go for start date. And just in case I've got two activities with the same start date, then the second level of sort will be by finish date. I think this should be fine. Okay, okay. Now I need to set up a filter for my activities. Now, because I'm looking at schedule logic, I shouldn't really bother about completed activities. I only want to focus on outstanding activities, and that means I need activity status. Filter say not equal to completed. That means not 100% complete. Okay. So I've finished configuring for activities. Next, I go to predecessors and to appear on the prompt here, so you know yeah, you're working on predecessors. Columns I need for my predecessors. Activity ID. This is the predecessor ID. Now, not to confuse this with what we did earlier, I'm going to edit these two fields. So for activity ID, I'll just change it to predecessor ID. For activity name, I'll edit it, change it to predecessor name. Now, what next do I want? A date. So look for start and finish date. You could go for early start and early finish, but it's up to you. This is just my preference. So go start finish. I want to know if it's a driving activity, a driving logic predecessor. So pick driving. I'm under general. Next, I need relationship types. I think still that should still be under general. Yep. Need to know if it's a finish start relationship or finish to finish the relationship type. The name looks so long, so you might want to edit it or edit it and say rel type. Then the last, need to know if there's a lag if there's a lag in the logic relationship. Under duration, Peak lag. Yep, I think I'm happy with the fields I've got. So I've got predecessor ID, predecessor name, start and finish date, confirm if it's a driving logic, the relationship tab, and type, and the relationship lag. Okay. I don't need a filter for my predecessors. Let's say next. Okay. Name for your report. I'm gonna name this schedule logic part. So we give a code, just say SL-01. You could name it anything you like. It's just me. So I've got SL01 schedule logic report. That's the name. I go next. Format numbers, that's fine. Now it's time to run the report. So you click on run report. And you have 5 options here under send the report to. So you've got print preview, come up directly to printer. So without you previewing the report, as an email attachment straight to a mail recipient, HTML file, open up in a web browser for you to see, and then delimited text file, which is more like which is a CSV file, which is obviously your to open up in Excel. So normally when I do reports, I either go for print preview, HTML, or delimited text file. Today I'm going to go for a print preview because I want to see how it looks like before I create a PDF of it. So I click OK. Brilliant. So this is the report. This is what I'm after. I've got my project name, WBS, the leftmost grouping. It's got the groupings. And with the tab indent, you see activities. So the first one is start office building addition project. It's a start milestone, so no predecessor. The next activity is EC 1000 design building addition, and it's got one predecessor, which is, you see the ID, EC and 1010, which is start office building addition project, which is a start milestone. It's got the date. Is there driving logic? It says yes. Relationship type gives you FS, lag 0 days. And this is it, you see. So it's well laid out. This is what I want. So now I can issue this as one of the supporting documents with my schedule, along with the schedule basis document or schedule basis, schedule memorandum, schedule narrative, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm kind of happy with this. So what do I do? Print. So create a PDF of it. So I'll just call this schedule logic report. You can name your file as you like. I'm just going to give mine just date at the end. I'll save this. Yeah, report printed. After I've printed my report, I close print preview, click close. Back to this prompt, you click next. You've got the option to save your report or you just click finish. My advice would be to save the report. And the beauty about saving the report is next time you want to run a scheduled logic report, you don't have to repeat all these steps that we've gone through. You just run the report. So click save. It tells you the report saved. You can actually see it saved here. And then you click finish. That's your report. That's you done. So next time you want, say next month or your next schedule update, you want to generate a schedule logic report, you just come, right click, run report. It takes you to the run report menu, just say print preview. Voila, and that's you. It's easy. So you notice, if you notice, you come to this report um, window, you notice that we've got the report scope. It says global. So there are 2 options, current project or global. My preference is to always go for global so that your reports are available to all projects all projects under your user ID. But if it's a bespoke report whereby it's for your current project, you can choose the scope. You can limit the scope to current project. But personally, I'll always go for global. And that's us today. So stay tuned for our next video in the coming weeks. Enjoy.